Hey there, Parker dog owners. You know how great this town is for our dogs, right? Well, this whole guide is about making sure you and your best friend can enjoy every single part of it together. So let's get you set up to find that perfect trainer to make it all happen. All right, here's what we're going to cover. First, we'll talk about why training is so key for life here in Parker. Then we'll get into methods and credentials, different programs you can choose, what it all costs, and finally, we'll wrap up with some local Parker rules and resources. Simple as that.
All right, let's jump right in. Section 1, Training for Your Parker Life. So why is having a well-trained dog so important in our community anyway?
Think about it. You want those calm, easy walks on the Cherry Creek Trail, right? Or just being able to hang out at O'Brien Park on a Saturday without your arm being pulled out of its socket. Good training really unlocks everything our town has to offer, from handling the buzz of Parker days to just grabbing a coffee on a patio with your pup right there beside you. Okay, so we've got the why down. Now for Section 2, Methods and Credentials. Let's talk about what you should actually be looking for in a professional trainer. This part is really, really important. So here's the key term you need to know. Positive reinforcement. Honestly, it's the gold standard now. It's a modern, humane approach that's all about rewarding your dog for getting it right. We're talking treats, praise, a favorite toy, whatever they love. It's not just about teaching commands, it's about building this amazing, trusting bond with your dog. And believe me, the difference is night and day. Modern, positive training creates a dog that's confident and happy to work with you. But those outdated methods, the ones that use fear or intimidation, yikes, they can seriously worsen behavior and completely destroy the trust you have with your dog. You absolutely want to steer clear of anyone still using those techniques. So how can you tell if a trainer is legit? Well, look for certifications. I know, these look like a bunch of alphabet soup, but they're a big deal. Things like CPDTK or KPA-CTP mean the trainer has actually been tested on their knowledge of animal behavior and humane methods. And if you're dealing with more serious stuff like aggression, you'll want to see something like a CBCCK. These letters are proof that they've put in the work and are committed to their profession. Okay, now that you know what philosophy to look for, let's move on to Section 3, Choosing Your Program. This is where we figure out the right format for you and your dog's specific needs. So, which training format is the right one? Well, there's really no one-size-fits-all answer. It totally depends on what you're trying to achieve and your dog's personality. Let's walk through the main options you'll see here in town. You've basically got three main flavors. First, private or in-home training. This is perfect for those at-home headaches. You know, the dog that dashes out the door or surfs the kitchen counters. Then you have group classes. These are fantastic for socialization and teaching your dog to focus when there are distractions. Super useful for a busy Saturday at the Parker Farmers Market. And finally, there are board and train programs. These are pretty intensive, where your dog stays with the trainer, but they can get some really fast progress, especially if you have a busy schedule. All right, time to talk money and logistics. Section 4 is all about costs and key questions. We're getting into the nitty-gritty of what to budget and exactly what you should ask a potential trainer. So just to give you a ballpark figure to start with, a typical 6-week group obedience class right here in the Parker area is going to run you somewhere between $200 and $350. That's usually the most common starting point for people. Let's look at a bigger breakdown. As you can see, the costs really vary. A puppy class is on the lower end, while a single private lesson might be $100 to $180. Then you get to the bigger packages and board and trains, and yeah, that's a more significant investment. One thing to keep in mind, though, buying a package of lessons is almost always a better deal than paying for them one at a time. Okay, this is your homework. When you're interviewing a trainer, you have to ask these 5 questions. First, what's their training philosophy? You're listening for positive reinforcement. Ask about their certifications. We just talked about why that's important. Ask how they'll tailor a plan just for your dog, not some cookie-cutter program. Get a full breakdown of the fees, no surprises. And finally, ask them how they track progress. The answers to these questions will tell you everything you need to know. All right, last section. Let's bring it all home and talk about Parker rules and resources. This is about putting that great training to use and being an awesome dog owner in our town. You'll want to know the local ground rules. Here in Parker and Douglas County, the leash law is pretty specific, 10 feet or shorter in public spots. And your dog has to have a current rabies tag on their collar. And you know what else is a local rule? Nuisance barking. So that quiet command you're working on, that's not just good manners, it's also being a good neighbor. So once you've got some skills down, where do you go to practice? Well, we've got some amazing spots. Tallman Meadow Park is perfect for working on that recall in a fenced-in space.
The Cherry Creek Regional Trail, that's your real-world classroom for practicing walking nicely on a leash with all sorts of distractions. Taking your training on the road to these places is what makes it stick.
So there you have it. A well-trained dog really does make every single Parker adventure better, for you and for everyone around you. From the farmer's market to the trails, it just makes life more enjoyable. Having that well-behaved companion by your side is an amazing feeling, whether you're just at home, out in the neighborhood, or enjoying everything our incredible town has to offer. Good luck with your training journey.